Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Faizan Khan, and in this video you will be learning how to create graphical user interface of a student management system. In the previous video we completed this login system for a student management system, right? So how does it work? Here you need to enter the correct username and correct password, and then you will be seeing the success message box. So let me just enter the correct username and correct password here that we set yesterday. So if I click on this login button, it says welcome. Okay, so what I want, when I see this welcome message box and once I click on OK, I should see that another window. Okay, that will be our student management system window. So how can we see that? Okay, so let me just show you in my original project how does that work. So if I run this code, if I'm entering username and password, and once I click on login, it says welcome Faizan, and once I click on OK, I'm redirecting to this student management system window. Okay, so this is the GUI that we need to create. Okay, so here, as you know, at the top we have date and time, then this is slider student management system text. Okay, then we have this connect to database. So firstly we will have to connect to database, then only we will be able to add a student or search a student or delete a student or update a student or show all the students or export its data. Okay, so let's see firstly how we can design this. Okay, then we will work on the functionality part. So I can simply exit from here. So I'll go back to my new project. Okay, I'm gonna create a new Python file here. So I'll right click on this folder name and I'll select Python file. Here I'll give the Python file name, it can be anything. So I'll go with SMS, which stands for student management system. Okay, so basically what I have to do, so when I'm seeing this success message box, right, welcome, right, just after this I'm simply going to import this SMS file. Okay, so whatever code that you will be writing here, that will simply be executed here. Okay, so if you will be creating a GUI window here, so that GUI window you will see once you will click on OK, right? So just like we created GUI yesterday, here also we will be creating in the same way. So we firstly need to import tkenter module. So from tkenter we will be importing all the classes and methods. So this is the way of doing that. Then we need to create our window. So this time I'll give the window name as root. Okay, and we just have to create object of tk class. Then we need to keep our window on loop so that we can see it continuously. So the method was main loop, if you remember, right? So this helps our window to be continuous on our screen so that we can see it, right? Now if I'll run this particular file, right click and run SMS, you can see we are seeing this window. Okay, so let me just show you from this file that once you will see this welcome message box, after that you will see this new window that we just created here. Okay, so before that let me just rename this file to login so that it is understood by you. So I'll simply refract it and rename it to login.py instead of main.py. Okay, so now let me just run it. So if I'll not enter any details, then you will see error message box that's fields cannot be empty, right? But if you enter some wrong details and try to log in, you are seeing this message box that please enter correct credentials. Okay, and now if you enter the correct details, and click on login. It says welcome. Now once you click on OK, see, we are getting this new window that we created. Okay, what we want, that once we see this window, our previous window, this login system window, should be closed automatically, right? So what I'll do, once I import this, just after that I'm going to destroy our window, means we'll simply close it once this new window is imported. So this new window we will see, and this old login system window will be closed. Let me just run it. So if I enter username and password, if I click on login, so welcome. Okay, it is not getting closed. Why is that? So I think I need to can't invoke destroy command, application has been destroyed. Okay, so this error message is because this window is continuously on a loop, right? Main loop, right? So the other code just after this line is not getting executed, means this line is not getting executed. So that's why you are seeing this error. So what you need to do, just before you import, you can close your window, right? Once your previous window will be destroyed, and you will be able to see the new window. Let me just run it again. So once I click on OK, you see the previous window got closed and then the new window is imported here. Okay, so this is what we wanted. So again we will do the same thing. We will provide some width and the height to this window. We will add some title here, and I think I forgot to add title to this one, this login window, right? The title you can see here is TK, which is by default. We can change it. So here just after providing the width and the height, you can use another method of TK class, which is title, and here you can pass the title in the form of a string. So this is login system of string management system. Okay, so now if you'll run, you will see this title, login system of string management system. I hope this is clear to you. Now let's go back to our sms.py. So we are going to use geometry method, and here we will pass width and the height in the form of a string. Okay, so the width that I have used in my original project is 1174, and the height that I used is 680. Okay, and then I'll place this window at a distance of 0 from the x-axis and at a distance of 0 from y-axis. So the window will start appearing from this position, okay, top left corner. So now if I run it, if I enter the details, yeah, so this is the size of our window, okay, and it is appearing from 0 position, okay, 0x and 0y. But if you want, you can change these values, like if you want to go with 50 distance from the x-axis and 20 distance from the y-axis, you can do that. So you will your window will appear at that particular distance. Let me just enter the username and password. Yeah, so you can see this is the distance. After that I'll add title, so I'll use title method, and here I'll pass the title in the form of a string. So this is nothing but string management system. Okay, so now this time I'll run this application. Okay, so you can see the title string management system is set here. After that I'll simply disable this maximize button so that its width and height cannot be modified. So I'll write root dot resizable method, and here we will pass false value for the width and false value for the height. Okay, you can also use false comma false if you want, both will work in the same way. So now if I run it, you see it's disabled, so you cannot modify width and the height of your window. Now let me run the original project once. Let me enter the details here. Okay, so if you see this window, okay, this window is divided into two frames. Okay, one frame is this one where we have all these buttons inside it. Okay, another frame is this one where we have all these columns: id, name, mobile number, email. So this is known as tree view. Okay, so this complete thing is inside another frame. So there is one left frame and then there is one right frame, and inside left frame I have added all these buttons and this logo image, and then in the right frame I have added this tree view. Okay, where you will see the columns, all these columns and the data of your students that you will be adding. Okay, so let me show you one image that will demonstrate what I just explained to you. So this is that image. Here you can see this is our left frame where I will be adding all the buttons, and this is our right frame where we will be adding our tree view. Okay, then at the top we have date time label, okay, with the text, and then we have a heading label. Okay, there is some heading, student management system, and then we have one button, connect db button, okay, database button. So let's see one by one. So firstly we will see how we can display date and time here at the top. Okay, so coming back to the code here, so I'm gonna create a date time label. Okay, and as you know, the label is created with the help of a label class, and this label I want inside my window, right? So I'll pass root here because root is the name of my window. After that I'll provide some text. Okay, but this text will be changed, right? Because here we will be displaying date and time, so we will see the logic how we can get the current date and time. So for now let me just display some text like hello, so that you can see where exactly this text is appearing. So if I run at this stage, you won't be able to see it. I guess you know now why you are not seeing this text or particularly this label. Okay, the reason is because you have just created the label and you have not placed it. So let me just place it. So I'll write datetime label dot place method, and let me just place it from x-axis at a distance of 5, and from y-axis at a distance of 5. Let's see where this text appears. Yeah, so this is the text that we are seeing. Okay, but for now I won't be adding any text. I'll add this text later on, but for now let me just add some font for the text, okay, that we will be adding here. So the font that I'm gonna use is Times New Roman. Okay, the size of the text will be 18, and I'll make the text as bold. Okay, so now if I'll run it, we'll see some change here. Okay, so for now we don't have to display this text. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna call a function just after this, and I'll name it clock. Okay, so this is the function that I'm calling from here. After creating this label, I'm calling a function. So I need to define this function, right? So I'll define all my functions at the top after this import line. So I'll give a comment here that this is nothing but the functionality part, and here also I'll add one more comment that this is nothing but the GUI part, like this. So here I'll define all my functions. So first function is clock. Okay, So inside this function, I'll add the code of displaying date and time, where we just displayed hello, right, at that particular position. So position is already set, we just need to update the text. Okay, so firstly let's see how we can get date and time. So in order to get date and time, you need to import one module. So the module name is time, so we just need to import it, import time, and this one is inbuilt module, so we don't have to install it. Now inside this function, we simply going to use this module, and we're gonna call one function which is strf time. Okay, so this will give us the time or date. Okay, this gives us both the things in a formatted way. So here we just need to pass the formatted string for date. Okay, so we'll have to use %d for day, then this is the separation /, then %m for month, and then %y for year. Okay, so if you want to see complete 2022, then you have to mention capital Y, otherwise you can mention small y if you want to see just 22. Okay, so since I want to see complete 2022, that's why I'm mentioning capital Y here. So this will give us the current date, and that I can store in some variable date. Okay, in the same way I can get the time. So I'll create a variable time. So inside, or not time, because time is already a module, so I can use some other variable like current time. Okay, and the way is similar, so we'll use the strf time method only, and here this time we'll pass the format of time. So %h for hours, then colon as a separator, then %m for minutes, then colon again as a separator, then %s to see seconds. Okay, so this will give us date and then current time. So if I print these two things, date comma current time, so you'll see on the console that once I run this program, you will see the current date and time getting printed. So you can see this is the current date and this is the current time. Okay, so I hope you understood it. So we don't have to print date and time. What we have to do, we have to display this date and time on this label. Okay, because we remove the text from here. So now to update the text on this label, we'll have to use this label name, and the label name is date time label. So we'll write date time label dot config method. So this config method is used to update something on this label. So here I'm going to update the text, and the text would be date, right? So I'm gonna use f string here. So f string is simply used to concatenate the string with a variable. Okay, so first thing we that we want to show is this date string, and after that we will be showing the date. So date is inside this variable, right? So if I want to use variable, I'll have to use inside this curly braces. So I'll mention date variable here like this. So now if I'll run it, you'll see date at the top. Okay, now in the new line only, I want to see the time. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll use the new line character, which is nothing but \n, and then I'll mention time as the string, and the time is stored inside this current time variable. So I'll simply use this current time variable like this. Now if I run it, so you see we got the date and we got the time in the new line. Okay, so here you see the alignment is not proper. So what you can do, you can simply provide some spacing here, okay, in the starting of date. So now it is proper. Okay, so this is how date and time is displayed. But if you see, the time is displayed, but these seconds are not like this is 53, it should be 54, 55. After every second this number should be changed, but this one is not changing. So how can we change this? Like it should be continuously changing. So for that, what we want, after 1 second I want to call this function again, right? After 1 second I want to call this function again and update my date time label. So what I'll do, I'll write here date time label dot after. Okay, so this after method is used to update something after some time. Okay, and first thing here we need to mention the time in milliseconds. So if you want to repeat it after 1 second, so 1 second is nothing but 1000 milliseconds, right? So I'll pass 1000 milliseconds here, and after 1 second basically I'm gonna call this clock function again. So I'll pass clock function here without parenthesis. So what will happen, when you will run, you will see date and time, and after 1 second again this clock function will be called. So you will see the seconds getting updated, okay, after every 1 second. So I hope you are getting this. Now if I'll run it, you see the seconds are getting updated because after every 1 second the clock function is getting called again and again. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you. Okay, so after this we will be creating slider text. Okay, so again we will be firstly creating a label just after this. So I'll name it slider label, and this will be created with the help of a label class, and this one will also be inside my root window only. And then I will be adding text on this label. So this time instead of directly adding the text, I'm adding a variable here. Okay, I need to define this variable. So basically inside this variable I will be adding that complete string. Okay, and the string is string management system, like this. Okay, uh, so let me just simply add this on our screen, I mean place it. So I'll use this place method, and where you want to see it, it has to be at the top center position, right? So let me just take x equals to 200 and y as 0, and let me just run it. So you see this is the student management system text that we are getting. Okay, let me just change the font of this text. So I'll copy the font from here and I'll paste here. Instead of Times New Roman, let me just use a style Arial, and I'll change the size as 28, and I'll make it italic bold. Let me just run it. Yeah, so this is the text that we are getting. Okay, but we don't have to see it continuously like complete text. We'll have to create a slider, so one by one letter will get attached. Okay, so it will look cool. So how can we do that? So here also I will be calling one function that will help me in doing that stuff. Okay, so the function name is slider, and I'm calling it just after creating this label. So I need to define this function. So either you can define this function just above it or below it, it's up to you. So I'll be defining it above it. So I'll write def slider. Okay, so this s variable is containing the complete string, right? So one by one I will be accessing element of this string. So at s0 we have s, and at s1 we have t, and s2 we have u, and so on. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to create two variables here, count, and initial value of it will be 0, and there is a variable text which is empty initially. Okay, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to update this text variable. Okay, so I'll update its value, and s is nothing but containing that string, right? This is string management system string is inside s, and in square brackets I'll pass this count variable. So count variable is having value 0. So s of 0 is nothing but this s, first element, right, s of 0. Okay, and then s of 1 is this t, as I told you, right? So let me just comment down here that s of count is nothing but this capital S. Okay, when count value is 0. Okay, when this count value will be 1, then s of count will become t, and this way it will keep on increasing if you will increase the value of count. I hope you are getting this. So see, this variable value cannot be updated inside a function. Okay, so in order to update its value inside a function, you have to make this variable as global. So inside this function you will have to use global text. Okay, now you can modify its value inside this function. So inside this text, in the starting, what we are going to get, we are going to get s. Okay, in the starting we are going to get s, and this s I will be simply updating on this label. Okay, slider label. So I'll write here slider label dot config, and I'll update the text, and the text is nothing but this text variable only, this one. Okay, so now if I run it, you see we are only able to see this s. Okay, now to see the other element like t, after s we have t, so what we can do, we can change this count value to 1, so this time you will see t, right? And if you change it to 2, you will see u, and so on. Okay, so initially this is set to 0 only. Okay, what I'm going to do here, just like inside this function I called this clock function again after every 1 second. Okay, so it was showing the time. Okay, the seconds were moving, then this number, particular number, was moving after 1 second. In the same thing, in the same way I'll do it here also. So I'm using this slider label, I'm going to update this slider label, right? So after every 300 milliseconds I'm gonna call this slider function. Okay, so after every 300 seconds, if you'll call this slider function, so the text will simply be updated. So if I run it, you see s s s s s s, and this will simply increase continuously. Okay, because every time this slider function is getting called after 300 milliseconds. If you want to try it after 1 second, so you'll have to pass 1000 milliseconds here. So after every 1 second you will see s getting added here. Okay, but you don't have to see just the first element, you have to see other elements also of this string management system, right? So how can you do it? Just after updating on the slider the first element, after that I'll increase the count value to 1 by 1. Okay, so I'll write count plus equals to 1, like this. Okay, and I think I need to make this count variable also global to change its value. Okay, now if I run it, you see student, and this way it will go till end. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you. Let me just increase some time here, I mean decrease it, so 300 milliseconds would be fine. So student management system. Okay, so I hope this is clear. But what I want is, after once this is completed, the text is completed, it should again start from s. Okay, it should not stop at this position. I don't want to see this complete text, I want it to repeat itself again and again. So what I'll do here, I'll check a condition, I'll apply condition here, that if this count variable reaches the length of s. Okay, reaches the length of s, so if you calculate the length of s, So this is nothing but the number of characters inside this string, right? This is the length. So when this count variable reaches the length of s, because this count variable value is getting increased, right? So when it will reach the length of s, means when it will reach the last character, then I will simply make the count value back to 0 and will make the text back to null. Okay, so again it will start from the first letter, that is s. So this time you will see the change. Student management system, again student management system. So this way it will work. So I hope this is clear to you. Let me just add some width to this label. Okay, so I'll go to this label and I'm gonna add some width to it. So width would be 30, like this. Now if I run it, yeah, so this is how it will look now. Student management system. So I hope this is clear to you. Okay, it's very easy. Just after creating the label, okay, and initially on the label you set this is student management system. I think if we can remove this, still it will work fine if we don't add some text initially. Okay, so we have just created a label and then we are calling a function slider. Inside this slider function I have taken variable text, okay, and updating its value. So initially first letter will come inside this text variable that you will see on a slider label, okay, and after 300 milliseconds this function will be called again, and since count value is getting increased by 1, so you will see second character inside this text and that will be updated on this slider label, and this way it will continue, and once it will reach the last character, then simply the count value will become 0 and the text will become null and it will again start. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you. Now after adding date, time and this is slider text, now let's add the button connect on connect to database button here, okay, on the right side. So I'll create a button here. So this is a connect button and button is created with the help of a button class, and this button has to be inside my window only. So I'll pass root here. Then the text on the button will be connect database, like this. Okay, so now if I'll run it, you can't see it because we have not placed it. So let me place it. Connect button dot place method, and it should be on the right hand side, right? So what value of x we should take? So let's try with 900, and y let's try with 0 only. So y will be 0. Oh, end object has, okay, I forgot to add x assign. Okay, now if I run it, so here we are able to see this connect database. Let me move it more to the right hand side, so I'll increase this value to maybe 980. Yeah, I think this is fine. Okay, but this button is not looking similar to the button which is in my original project. So if I run my original one directly, this sms.py file, so you see this button is very much different than that one, right? So how can we create a button like this? Okay, so this is nothing but theme is applied on this button. Okay, so let's see how we can apply theme. So the way of applying theme is we will have to install one external module which is TTK themes. Okay, and with the help of that we will be able to apply theme. So just go to your terminal and there you need to type pip install TTK themes, like this, and hit enter. So once this is downloaded, you just need to import it. Import ttk themes. Okay, so once you import ttk themes module, then you need to change this tk class to ttk.themed class. Okay, which works in the similar way just like this tk class. Okay, but that class has theme. Okay, so you just need to replace this tk class with ttk themes dot themed tk class. Okay, as I said, this themed tk class is similar to that tk class only, so it has all these methods, similar methods. Okay, but one advantage of using this class is that we can apply theme on buttons. Okay, so to apply theme, we will firstly have to get theme. So root dot get themes method. Okay, so this will get all the themes, and then we need to set theme. So we'll write root dot set theme. Okay, and here we need to pass the theme name and which themes you can apply. Let me just go to the browser, and there let me tell you which themes you can apply. So ttk themes python, you can search and you can visit this website ttk-themes.readdocs, and here you can go to this theme section, and these are the themes that you can apply. So these are the theme names, like Adapta is there, Aquativo is there, similarly Arc is there. So the one that I have applied in my original project is this Radiance. Okay, so I'm going to apply this one. So here you just need to pass that name, Radiance. Okay, instead of Radiance you can use some other theme also. Whichever theme you like, you can simply put the name here. Okay, so now after setting the theme, if you run at this stage, you won't see any change. Can't find package theme Radiance. Okay, so this R has to be small here, it cannot be capital. Okay, so now if I run it, yeah, so you can't see any change here. So this is the way of setting the theme. Okay, now to apply this theme on buttons, what you have to do, you have to import from tkinter import ttk. Okay, so this is additional module, okay, that we need to import ttk. So this help us in applying theme on button. So how do you use it? You just have to write ttk dot, that's it. Okay, so wherever you want to apply theme, just add ttk dot. So now if you'll run, you'll see Radiance theme on this button, right? So I hope you are clear how you have to apply theme. You will have to import this ttk, which is extra module, okay, additional module, which is inside tkinter module. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you. Now after adding these three things, now let's create our left frame, inside which we will be adding our buttons. Okay, add student, search student, update student, delete student, and all that. And inside right frame, we will be adding our tree view, where you will see all the columns, right? So let's firstly create our left frame. So here I'll give the name to my frame as left frame, and this frame will be created with the help of a frame class only, and this frame has to be inside my window, right? After this, now we need to place this frame. So left frame dot place, and where I will place it. So I want it on the left hand side, so I'll use smaller values of x, right? And I'll use y as 80. Okay. So if I'll run at this stage, you won't be able to see this frame. Okay, because we have just created a frame. But if you provide some width and the height to this frame, then you will be able to see this frame. So if I provide some width like 300 and height like 600, okay, now if I run it, still you can't see it because the frame color and the background color of this window both are similar. But if you change the frame color, then you will see this particular frame. So if I change the background color of our frame to red, now if I run it, you see this is the frame that was created. Let me just place this window from 0th position, right? So I'll change these values here. Instead of 50 and 20, I'll add 0 comma 0, 0 plus 0. Okay, so window will appear from this position. So this is our left frame that I am creating. Okay, and inside this left frame only I will be adding that logo image at the top, then all the buttons. Okay, so let me just add logo image first of all. So I'll give it a name like logo underscore image, and this will be created with the help of sorry, I can import this image with the help of photo image class, right? And here I'll pass the file name. So image I actually already downloaded it, but I'll tell you. So you just need to go to flat icon website and here search for student. Okay, so I have downloaded this one in my project. Okay, so from here you can select the size, whatever size you want to choose. So actually I have resized it to 75 pixels, I think. So I'll simply resize it. So you just need to open this image and just right click and resize it, or you can go to paint and from there you can resize it. So I'll change it to 75 pixels. Okay, save resized image, and I'll save it on my desktop, and from there I'll copy this. So this is that image. I'll copy from here and I'll paste in my code. So I'll give it a name, student.png. Okay, so here the file name is student.png. I hope you understood it. So after importing the image, now you need to create a label, and on that label you need to add this logo image. So I'll give the label name as logo label. Okay, and I'll be using label class. This label has to be now inside this left frame, so I'll pass left frame here. Okay, then the image will be this logo image. I hope you are getting it. After adding this image on this label, now I can simply place it. So this time instead of place, I'll be using grid method, because inside a frame, if you see, everything is in different rows and columns are similar, right? If you notice the original project, let me just run the original one again. If you see inside this particular frame, this image is at row 0 and column 0, this button is at row 1 column 0, so only row values will change, column will remain same. So this grid method is basically easy here to use, that's why I'm using grid method. Otherwise in case of place, we will have to give x and y values. Okay, so it's a bit complicated to get the correct x and y values. Okay, that's why I'm using grid, because it's easier to use here. I hope you are getting this. Okay, so row value will be 0 and column will be 0. Now if I run it, you see we are getting this logo image here. Okay, let me just remove the background color from this frame. I just want it to match with the window color. So Yeah, that's it. Now let me just add student button. Okay, so add student button, and we'll be using a button class. This button has to be inside my left frame. The text on this button has to be add student. Okay, and if I simply grid it, so add student dot grid, where I'll grade it just below this logo label. So it has to be at row number 1 and column will be 0. Now if I run it, you see this is our add student button. Okay, let me just provide some vertical spacing between this logo and this button. Okay, so let me just add pad y of 20, padding 20. So you'll see some spacing here, right? I hope you got it. And now I want this button similar to this one. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna apply theme here. So to apply theme, we just have to write ttk dot. That's it, before button. Now if I run it, this is created. And now let me just add next buttons. Okay, so the buttons will be added in a similar way. So I'll simply copy this one and I'll paste here. So after add student, next button will be search student button. So instead of add, I'll change it to search student. Okay, and the text will also change here, search student. Okay, and this one will be at row 2, column will remain 0 only, like this. Okay, I hope you are getting it. Now after search student, next one will be update student. Okay, or we can add delete student. So let me just firstly add delete student. Okay, I'll change the text to delete and row value will change to 3. Now if I run it, you see add, search, delete. After that we need update student. So this one is update student and row value will change to 4, right? Just after this, let me just check in my original which are the remaining buttons. So add student, then search student, delete, update. After that, show student, export data, and exit. Okay, so let me just add show student, button, and here the text will be show student. Okay, column will be 5. Just next to this one, export student, right? So here the text will change to export data, and row number will become 6. And the last one is exit. Okay, so this is exit. Let me just remove student from here, so it should be exit button. Okay, and here the text will change to exit, row value will change to 7. Yeah, so this is how we have to add buttons here, okay, inside this particular left frame. So I hope this is clear to you. Let me just provide some width to these buttons. Okay, let me increase the width so that all these buttons should be of similar width. Okay, right now you can see this is of smaller width and this is of bigger width. So we can start from this add student button. We will be providing same width to all these buttons. So let me place multiple cursors with the help of alt key and mouse left button. And here the width will be 25. Okay. Now if I run it, you see the change in the widths. Now we have to create our right frame, and inside that we will have to create tree view. Okay. So if I show you in my original project what is that tree view, let me just connect to the database. Okay, so if I click on show students, you see all these students here, right? So this is nothing but the tree view, okay, where we have all these columns: ID, name, mobile, email, and so on. Okay, address, gender, date of birth, added date, added time. So this is the tree view that we need to create inside the right frame. Okay, so let's see how we can create our right frame. So right frame will be created in the similar way just like we created our left frame. So I'll simply copy this left frame from here and I'll paste here. Okay, and I'll change the name to right frame, right? But this will be placed at different x and y coordinates, right? So it will be placed at 350 distance from the x-axis, and y distance will be similar to the left frame only. Okay, so height will be similar of both the frames. Then width, that will be bigger than the left frame, so it will be 820, which I have used in my original, and height will be similar, which is 600. So now if I run it, so somewhere here this frame will be created. Okay, let me just add a background color so that you can see this particular frame. So bg equals to yellow. So yeah, so this is our right frame which is created. Okay, now inside this right frame only we will have to create tree view. Okay, so let me just remove this background color from here, and to create tree view we will have to use tree view class, but that tree view class is not present inside tkinter module. Actually it's present inside this ttk module, so we will have to use this ttk module to get that class, tree view class. Okay, so we'll write ttk dot tree view. Okay, so with the help of ttk module I am accessing this tree view class. Okay, now this tree view has to be inside our right frame, and what will be the columns of this tree view, that we need to mention here. So columns, you can give some ID to those columns, right? So it will be names of that columns basically. So first column name I'm giving ID. Okay, second column name I'm giving as name only. Then third column name I'm giving as mobile number, and this way how many columns you want, you can simply give names to those columns. So next column is email. Okay, then there will be address, after that gender. Yeah, so after gender I'll move it to a new line, and here it will be dob, date of birth, then added date, and lastly added time. So these many columns will be created. So let me just count how many columns will be there. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. 9 columns will be created. So I'm going to give some name to this tree view. So it will be student table. Okay, this is the name. And once you create tree view, then again you need to place it just like we placed earlier things, right? So we'll use this student table dot. We can either go with place method or we can go with grid method, but we also have one third method which is used to place and which is pack here. Okay, so this is very easy, and this one is generally used when the complexity is very less. Okay, like when you want something to be added either at the top or left or right or bottom, then only this pack method is used. I'll be using this pack method, okay, just to show you how it works. So if I run it, you can see the columns are created here, right? But you can't see the columns which are after this, right? So you need to create one scroll bar and attach to this tree view. Okay, one horizontal scroll bar and one vertical scroll bar. Okay, so if you ever will be wanting to see the bottom view, like if you have a lot of data and you want to see the results at the bottom, then you need to scroll down, right? And if you want to see the horizontal view, then you will have to scroll to the right, right? So let's attach two scroll bars to this tree view, and you can see this tree view has taken this much space only, right? If you want to expand it to the fullest, like it should be expanded in the complete frame, like the frame was till here, 600 height was of that frame, right? So you can mention fill as both, so it will simply fill both x and y axis. Okay, it will simply fill both x and y axis, and then you can expand it, expand to 1. So it will simply be expanded in the complete frame like this, right? So now it's expanded to the complete frame. I hope you got it. Now let's attach horizontal and vertical scroll bars to see the data. Okay, so before attaching the scroll bars, we need to create scroll bars here. Okay, so first one is scroll bar x, okay, which is horizontal scroll bar. So scroll bar x, and the scroll bar is created with the help of a scroll bar class, and this scroll bar I want to see in my right frame. Okay, and the orient of this scroll bar has to be horizontal like this. So if you won't pass orient, so by default it will be vertical scroll bar only. So if you want the scroll bar to be of horizontal, then you need to pass orient as horizontal here. Okay, so just like you created scroll bar x, you need to create a scroll bar y, and it will be created in the similar way. So I'm simply going to copy this same line with the help of Control D in PyCharm. Okay, so I'll replace this name to sorry, I'll change this x to y only. So this one is scroll bar y, and the orient for this one will be vertical. So if you don't pass vertical, it will be vertical only. Okay, so after creating the scroll bars, if I'll run at this stage, you will not be able to see those scroll bars. Again, the reason is same, that you need to place them. Okay, so where I'll place them, so I'll write scroll bar x dot pack, and I'll pack this scroll bar x at the bottom. So side here will be bottom like this. Okay, and this should be filling the complete x-axis, right? This should fill complete x-axis. So fill assign x. Now if I run it, you can see the scroll bar is attached here, and it has filled complete x-axis here. In the similar way, I will add the scroll bar y on the right hand side. Okay, and will fill the complete y axis of this frame. So I'll write scroll bar y dot pack method, and here the side will be right. Okay, and I'll fill the complete y axis. So now if I'll run it, you can see the scroll bar is created, but right now this scroll bar is not working. Okay, like I mean to say that this scroll bar is not functioning with this tree view. Okay, so what I want, when I scroll it down, I should see bottom view of this tree view. Similarly, if I scroll to the right, I should see right view of this tree view. Okay, so in order to see it, we need to bind these scroll bars with this tree view. Okay, we need to set them with this tree view. So how can we set? So to this tree view class, we'll have to pass x scroll command equals to scroll bar x dot set, like this. So now if I run, you will see that this is now set with this tree view. Okay, you see its size is increased, it is set with this tree view, but you are not able to see the horizontal view, right, of the right hand side. So in order to see that, you will have to configure, your scroll bar x. So you'll have to write scroll bar x dot config, and here you need to pass the command equals to student table dot x view, right? You want to see the x view of student table. Okay, when you move the scroll bar. Let me run. So now if I move it, you see we are able to see the x view of our student table, right? I hope this is clear, that when you will move the scroll bar, you want to see student table X view, right? Similarly, if I run it again, you see this is not set with the vertical view. This is not set. So firstly, we will set here. So y scroll command equals to scroll bar y dot set. Now if I'll run, you see now it is set. Okay, now it is set. Okay, once this is set, after that you want to see y view. Whenever you scroll your y scroll bar, you want to see y view, right? So you can simply copy this line and you can replace the variable scroll bar y, and in case of that you want to see student table y view, so you'll mention y view here. Okay, since we don't have much data to see the y view here right now, okay, but once we will have data, then you will see that this scroll bar will become active and you will be able to see the y view when you will scroll it down, just like you are seeing this right view, okay, by scrolling this to the right. I hope this is clear to you. So this is how you will have to attach horizontal and vertical bars, okay, with this tree view. I hope this is clear to you. Now after creating this tree view, okay, now you need to add headings here, right? You need to add text to these columns. Okay, like here it should be id, here it should be name, here it should be email, and so on. So how can we do it? We will have to use this student table dot heading method, and here firstly we will mention the id, like what is the column name. So first column name is id that we mentioned here. You see this is the column name id. Okay, so first column, which is id, its text I want to be id only, like this. So now if I'll run, you can see we are seeing this id, but it should be from this position, right? Why we are seeing this text here and not here? So we will be using this student table dot config method, and here we will show only headings. Okay, so I'll pass headings here. So now that first column will be removed, which was empty. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you. And similarly the second one, so I'll copy the same line. The second column name was name, and the text of that column will be name as well. So now if I run it, you see ID name. So I hope this is clear to you. Now the third column, name here, if you see, is mobile number, right? Or you can just name it mobile, or you can name it anything. Okay, it's up to you. So I'll simply copy the same line, and third column name is mobile. So I'll provide the text as mobile number, like this. So you'll see mobile number here. Okay, in the same way we can add email address. Okay, then the address of home. Okay, then other details like gender, date of birth, added date, added time. Okay, so let me just quickly do the changes here. Okay, now if I run it, you see ID, name, mobile number, email address, gender, date of birth, added date, and added time. So these are all the columns of our tree view. So I hope you understood here. So this is how the GUI is created, and initially these all buttons will be disabled. So these will be enabled only when you will connect to the database. Okay, so what I want, when I click on this connect database, I should see one GUI window, right? So that functionality we will see in the next video. Okay, how we will connect to the database, how we will be able to add students. Okay, all these functionalities we will see in the next video. So I hope till here you guys have understood everything. Let me just disable these buttons initially. So what I'll do, where I have created these buttons, yeah, so these are the buttons. So I'll simply place multiple cursors and will make the state of these buttons to disable. So state will be disabled. Similarly for the remaining buttons, except for the exit button. So exit button will be enabled. So state will be disabled. So these states will be enabled once you will connect to the database. So right now you see all these are disabled. So I hope till here everything is clear. If you have any doubts, let me know in the comment section. Thank you for watching.